few minutes
Yes, sure,
to share with the permission of Dr. Professor Vasubalaya. Thank you so much. So, a little to begin with, we are not what we have, but we are what we are willing to learn. That's most important in life. Because what you have is just what our mentors have been telling throughout the day, you have to forget. And the path is lying ahead of you. You can't keep looking in the rear mirror to see what went behind. You have to look ahead to come up and pursue your dreams, pursue your passion. So it all started with my mother. So my first guru, everyone's first guru is always their mother. So I'm really fortunate and very grateful to my parents for having supported me in the thick and thin of my life. A lot of steep bends in my life where I felt this is the end of it, this is the end of life, there is nothing for me. But I was able to come up, pull myself through with their support. So I'm really grateful to them. I owe my education, I owe my higher education, I owe my PhD to my mother's support. Thank you to my parents. The one thing I would just like to quote is one instance. Probably I was in my first standard when I started commuting by buses because my grandpa used to pick me and drop me and he fell sick. So I had to commute by buses. Both my parents working, and I managed to go to the school by the BMTC public transport. So one day, every day when I get ready, my mother always tells me, if you by chance sleep, don't get scared. If you realize your bus stop has crossed, don't get down from the bus. Don't worry, sit till the driver takes you to the last stop and you tell him, don't tell anyone else, that you have forgotten to get down. And every day I used to nod my head, okay. That's always the thing that we do. And one day it so happened that I fell asleep. I woke up, I realized this route is not what I regularly travel. And then the one thing that flashed me in that critical situation was, I should not cry. First thing. Second, don't tell to anyone, sit in your place wherever you are. So that piece of advice actually helped me a lot. So I owe that direction from my parents. Another instance I would like to quote is when I joined Maharani Science, a government science college, PUC, and everyone was basically getting into tutorials and stuff. So I had a pressure on me that I will not pass if I don't manage to get into some of the tutorials. My father got me an admission here. I was really unhappy. I don't know how did he figure that out. After the admission process, he made me sit. He told only one thing. He said, look, if a student wants to study, you don't need anything else. You have the library, you have the facilities. No matter what you are deprived of, you will definitely put in your best. And if you are talking about a student who is privileged, you provide everything, and the student is not willing to work hard, the student will not benefit out of it. And that stuck to my mind. So every turn, every juncture of my life, I have really pondered over these thoughts. So the direction is really, really crucial. And it turned out that my PhD journey was not easy. I lost my guide after 4 years of my work. And the 5th year I had to submit my thesis with an application, and I had no clue what my professor was supposed to guide me with. I was clueless. I felt my PhD is orphaned. I cannot do anything without him because I don't know where he wanted to reach. I didn't have guidance at all. So it so happened that when the student is ready, the teacher appears. That truly happens. It's miraculous, but it does happen. And my teacher was none other than my own niece. We went for a BERA test for hearing, which we were panicking and did not give time for her to respond basically. She's all perfectly fine by God's grace. But this BERA test was the reason where I found I could connect my PhD topics that I was working on, the pure mathematical concepts, to apply it in human ear functioning. And that's how I could figure that I am able to find an application of mathematics, pure mathematical topics, and relate it to the field of medicine. So that was the juncture, and it took me almost 8 to 9 months of struggle. And every time my mother said, even if you lose, it's okay, don't worry. You don't have to be bogged down with the thing that you're losing. It's okay. You can always give up. But I said, no. 4.5 years of my efforts, for 3 more months, give me 3 more months, I'll try one last time. And it worked. It worked. So my doctorate I owe to my parents for all their support, for all their guidance, to every single teacher of mine, right from my UKG to 4th standard teacher, Patricia, my UKG teacher, Jayanti ma'am, my NCC teacher, Miss Sharda from Kamalabai Girls High School, my 7th standard maths teacher, Mrs. Sarah Benjamin, and my turning point was my maths tuition teacher in my PUC. I was the last person hiding out my book, and I used to sit so that the teacher does not see what mistakes I do. And I used to sit in the last bench because I joined the tuition very late. He said he will not help me with covering up the portions. So I decided, okay. 2 months went by. I said, if I do this, I'm not going to pass my examination. Forget about it. Then my father will get me married off, and I can't dream of educating myself. So I had to take that initiative. Say, okay, even if sir scolds me, it's fine. I'm going to sit in the first bench. That was the decision that changed the whole thing. And when I went after clearing the exam, I expected a 70 marks in mathematics. I got an 85. I was overwhelmed. I couldn't stop myself from going and telling him that, I've got this. And his dialogue was, I was expecting a 90 from you. And that thing was the reason why I took up mathematics. I'm not good at it, but that was that particular thing that I could not stand up to the professors, my mentors' expectations was the reason why I chose I must also help someone who may be struggling with the same struggles. So all that was my journey. And DX's journey begins with the recent thing. Okay, there I have. Okay, can I just... So everything starts with a dream. The first session that I attended was Shetty sir's session in Banaswadi branch, the opening of the branch. And he said, you must have a dream. To fulfill that, then you start taking the direction. So it all started with a dream. And of course, this was the very statement that I said, caught my attention. This is what I meant. How much you know is just the thing, but how well you learn can help you succeed. So what you have is only the willingness to learn that can help you scale up. So I decided I'm going to set a goal so big, you can't achieve it until you grow into the person who can. I thought Malaysia trip is not feasible. I made it to Siddipet, and then I was like, 2 months of my efforts, another 3 months, let me try. Let's forget about the results, because I spoke to Professor Vasupal and his son. Our discussion went up to like 1 a.m. in the night that day, and after the discussion he said, don't have too high expectations and don't go running behind people who are investing. Build your consumer base. And that was the thing that struck me. I said, okay, fine. That is what I need to focus. Let me keep that as an option. If Malaysia works, it's fine. If not, we will see. There would be another country probably that I would get to visit. So it all started with that. And finally, by God's grace and a lot of support, I could do that. So my dream is to be an entrepreneur my way. I'm going to decide what I want, how I want to approach, what is the path that I want to take, how do I define success in my own terms. So I am intending to transform myself to be an entrepreneur, a global entrepreneur. It all is based on core values. Without core values, we cannot achieve anything in life. So it's really important on what we have. So my journey before joining DXN still was on RGGL. But RGGL does not stand for Reishi, Gano and Ganoderma lucidum. It has a different context. R stands here for respect. You deserve to be respected. No matter what, you have to give up. Don't give up your respect. That's the first thing that I learned through hardships in my own life, my personal life, but still, I've got the lesson. Fight for your rights, no matter how small. If you have the right, claim it, get it. And don't give it up. The next most important thing is gratitude. We are nothing without our mentors, without our teachers, without our parents, without everyone who guides us. So the most important thing is gratitude. Never forget to be really kind, be humble, learn to say thank you as many times as you can. And a special thanks to all my teachers who made a lot of difference at every step of mine, all through. And a special mention to my upline, Professor Vasupalaya. If I wouldn't have probably met him at Siddipet, I wouldn't have had the dream, or I wouldn't have dared to even take this up. Thank you so much, sir, for your guidance. I'm really indebted to Vijay sir, to Arjun sir, to Satya sir for all their guidance, all the help. I must not forget to mention Sam's advice. Yourself, Sam, right? You're Sam. Yeah, perfect. He suggested me on 2 books that, on direct marketing. I'm pretty much new, and that piece of advice really helped me. I'm reading that book from Alan Pease. Yeah, so it's really, really nice. And that was the motivation I got after I read I'll come just to that point. The next most important thing is guidance. Without guidance, we can never achieve what we have achieved. So we be very thankful to everyone who has guided it, no matter how small, how big that help was. But the guidance really made the difference. It gave me the direction, it gave me the strength to come up, face the hardships, no matter what they were. So I strongly believe that guidance is a favor from Allah. And it's truly correct. When you're ready, you want to, then definitely there would be ways made. And I must say, parents are your real heroes. There could be no one who could be as selfless as they are. I'm really indebted to my parents for this. The RGGL, the L lens with legacy. You have to leave behind a legacy where someone else walks behind in your footsteps, realizes what you have is truly based on a very good value system. So your legacy is every life you have touched, and so happens through n number of ways. One is health, one is of course maths. I strongly believe that people really struggle with that, so I feel I might be of some help to someone, maybe the way the professor helped me achieve my dreams. So we need to make a mark, leave a legacy, and that happens only when you give more than what you have received. Without that, you will never be able to balance that equation, the equation of life. So this is something what my professor believed. I always used to come up with him. He's Dr. late B.R. Srinivas, who's a retired professor, principal from Kongadiappa, Dodbadapur College. And I was fortunate to have been mentored for these 4 years. So he always used to tell me, start walking, don't keep talking and don't keep asking questions, because I normally tend to ask questions. I tell sir, how is that possible, how is this possible? And he always used to get, just do what I say. And that's it. It ended. So believe in Almighty, believe in yourself, definitely miracles happen. You got to wait for it. So this is the miracle that happened to me, the Siddipet factory visit. it was an eye-opener for me. A lot of people whom I got to interact with the first time that I had stepped out, a lot of women force coming there, and I realized how difficult it was, but still they have overcome all those challenges and they've come ahead. And that really inspired. And the talk with Professor truly helped me achieve and I dared to dream that. So I'm really thankful to my mother. She's my upline, and to Nematullah sir for all the guidance and support whenever I needed them. Now we have another great teacher. When the student is ready, the teacher appears, and it's none other than Dr. Lim. I got introduced to DXN. I was not quite impressed with the talk, even at the Banaswadi branch, or maybe prior to that. Every time I said, why are they selling this product? Why are they talking so much about it? I never understood that. But then I got this book, My Journey with DXN, written by Dr. Rajesh Savera, an autobiography of Dr. Lim. And I read through that, and every single page is enlightening. The journey of Dr. Lim, right from his IIT Kharagpur experience in 1992, and then his struggles in 1993 to establish DXN with just a matter of 70,000 ringgits he had, where he was working at MADA for quite a lot of time, and he was trying to pursue this part-time to ensure he was really doing a lot of research in Ganoderma to enhance the medicinal and therapeutic effects of Ganoderma. So the struggle that he had to go through with his father having a dream that he becomes an engineer was there, he fulfilled it. But then his own professors had advised him, this engineering does not suit you, Lim. You might have to think, because you are creative and you may not survive in engineering field for long. And that was the professor's advice for Dr. Lim while he was studying at IIT Kharagpur. And years later, Dr. Lim gave up MADA. He resigned from that full-time engineering profession. He started DXN business, full-time into research, and he had an investment of 70,000 ringgits to begin with, in which he had to buy a home for his parents. He's the breadwinner of the family. And after all the hardships of his father, who was really struggling hard to ensure he studies well and support the family. So he managed